Good morning, everyone. What you doing up there? Trying to get my best side. Well, I'll admit to being old enough to remember sitting at my parents' in their kitchen at the breakfast table, having my cereal, and staring dreamily at Bruce Jenner on the front of the Wheaties box. Anybody else remember that? Oh, he was dreamy. Oh my goodness, how handsome, and just like a Greek god, so muscular and athletic and good looking and so dreamy. And speaking of dreams, I never would have thought the world's greatest athlete dealt with gender issues. Wow. But I remember when I heard that a whirlwind of emotions came up for me. And I was surprised by that, but I began, well, I guess kind of a self-knowledge. Isn't that the way self-knowledge is? You have these thoughts and feelings, you kind of pull back and you become the observer of what's going on, no matter how great or how small the feelings or thoughts are. You're kind of just kind of taking a look at it like, where'd that come from? And I realized that I had a kind of specific image of Bruce, and I didn't want to let that go. I'm kind of laughing at myself, but that's what self-knowledge is all about, isn't it? Not out of fear, no, and definitely not out of disapproval or shame, not at all. It was just that maybe it was a cellular memory or something. I just kind of liked things the way they were, and I wasn't ready to give that up. And I feel like this little exercise in self-knowledge kind of helped me to have compassion and understanding and sympathy for maybe what the family or those close to him might have been going through. But because it felt kind of like a loss to me on some level. But it was a victory for him, because it was a part of his transformation into becoming who he really was, who he had known himself to be for many, many years. And luckily, my honor and respect and support and love for him as a member of the universal family of humanity outweighed my teenage crush image, my immature and egoic response. But the question comes up, are we open to allowing everyone to be who they really are? Are we willing to support them as they, in their journey, their exploration, or even their experimentation as they find and become more of who they really are? Well, as I shared last week, spiritual community is all about supporting one another and honoring one another. And we honor everyone's journey. We know and realize and appreciate the courage that it takes to make any kind of change in our life and transformation in our lives, even if we can't wrap our brains around such a transformation as that. So we honor each person's journey into becoming who they really are. Another memory that came up for me as I was doing this little exercise in self-knowledge was, I remember a friend of mine, very creative, very intelligent, and really good in his field of work. And he had great aspirations for his career. And sure enough, he was offered a job at one of the biggest companies in his field. And of course, it was in a major metropolitan city, which was great for a young guy. You know, he could go out and meet people and all these opportunities and social activities and things like that. He was so excited. It was just the perfect opportunity, golden opportunity. Well, a friend of his, a woman that he held in high regard, would always say to him, "Oh no, you can't leave. You have to stay here with me." And she would smile when she would say it. But she said it so frequently that it really felt like it wasn't a joke. Well, needless to say, he didn't take that job. And he's still in this small town, same small town, working the same small business, doing the same thing that he's done for many, many years. So the question comes up, are we open to letting others fly while we might be on the ground watching them soar above us? Are we willing to be the wind beneath their wings and uphold their highest aspirations? To encourage everyone's most authentic expression? I want to be encouraged in my expression, don't you? I want to be upheld and acknowledged and respected and loved in my expression, don't you? Because we're all looking for happiness. And as the Master Teacher Jesus and many other masters said, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Just that one sentence. Life-changing, isn't it? Because we're all looking for happiness. We all want to be at peace with ourselves. We all want to be comfortable in our own skin, live in balance, express freely in all that we say and we do. And I would venture to say that most of us can attest that happiness and peace with ourselves, living in balance and feeling free, comes when we're in tune with ourselves, with the God of our being, and with our environment. So these two stories that I shared with you have a common thread, and that's faith. Self-faith, actually. One an expression of faith, and the other a lack of faith. And Charles Fillmore talks quite a bit about faith, but in his book, Dynamics for Living, he says, in order to bring out one's whole character, faith should be developed in all its phases. That it is a power is self-evident. People who have faith in themselves achieve far more than those who do not believe in their own ability. We call this self-faith innate confidence. Confidence is a form of faith. And one would think that in order to win the Olympic decathlon, you would have to have the greatest and most grueling test of speed and skill and strength and endurance in all athletic competition. You'd have to have a lot of faith in yourself, a great confidence, mental determination and toughness. And perhaps it's that mental toughness and determination that was learned many years ago that's helping him in this next leg of his journey. But let's bring it back to you, because I want to talk about you. Do you have what Charles Fillmore calls self-faith? Do you have faith in your own abilities? Do you have confidence in who you are and what you do? Do you have faith in your own expression, self-expression, expressing it in your own unique way? Do you have faith in your own essential wholeness? Do you have the confidence to live as a whole person? Do you have faith in the unlimited possibilities that are within you? Most of all, do you have faith to allow yourself to live from the most authentic part of your being? Well, you can probably feel as I was asking those questions that nothing burns more fiercely in our soul than the desire to be ourselves. The greatest joys come in life when we're spending every day being spontaneous and authentic. And conversely, the greatest misery comes when we're spending too many days adapting or conforming or participating in things that we just don't have any passion for. So today I want to talk to you about living authentically, living from that deepest part of your being true to yourself. Living authentically brings peace, it brings harmony, it brings contentment and balance. It brings well-being. Living authentically brings freedom, because you're operating from your own inner guidance, your own spirit, your own inner core values. Living authentically, you throw off the confines, the restrictions of the outer self. And in so doing, you unleash power and energy and spirit that you can then focus on your own potential, your own happiness, and your own well-being. Doesn't that sound good? Well, how do we do that? If you look on the internet, you're going to find a lot of talk about authenticity, a lot of life coaches and psychologists talking about living authentically. What we've been doing here this month is talking about living authentically, not from a social level or a mental or emotional or even psychological level, but from the deepest level of your being, your soul level, your soul self. Living authentically isn't just about being honest in your relationship or truthful in your words, although that's an essential part of it. And living authentically isn't just about being true to yourself, knowing who you are and why you do things and how you do things the way you do, although that's a part of it too. Living authentically is about connecting with the infinite. Some of us call God, some of us call higher power, some of us call higher self, connecting with your God self. Because since you're made in the image of God, what is true of God is true of you. What is true of God is true of me. You want to say that with me? What is true of God is true of me. Let's say it again, shall we, together? What is true of God is true of me. One more time. What is true of God is true of me. Takes a while to wrap your heart and mind and your mouth around truth like that. Charles Fillmore said, know yourself, know who and what you are, where you came from, what you are doing here, and where you are going. And then he went on to say, if you want to know all those things, meditate on the I am. So he's basically saying, if you want to know your true self, get to know your God self. Like I said last week, beyond the ego, beyond the personality, beyond that sense of separate self, we find our essence, our God self. So, we connect with the knower within, as Emily Cady called it. You're familiar with that term, knower within, that which knows who and what we really are. We connect with the knower within, and then we begin to realize that all these aspects and characteristics of the knower within are what we are. And then, in this space, we begin to feel and sense and understand and mold and envision how those aspects and characteristics of the knower within come into expression in and through and as us in our own unique and special way. So we're not talking about personality here at all. Personality is what we've created. Personality is what we have created to make us think that we're distinct and independent of others. That's our persona, our exterior. It's the mask that we put on. It's the mask that we've created and that we've chosen to wear. What we're talking about is individualizing the God self within. Isn't that fabulous? And in doing this, personality dissolves, decreases. And then our true self, our individuality, comes into expression. You become so aware of who you really are, personality dissolves. Then we can live in integrity with other people. Because you've taken off the mask. There's no walls. There's just a clear, genuine, honest, trustworthy communication. You live in the truth, and it sets you free. You're free to be honest with yourself, your true self, and then you're free to be honest with other people. As you come into integrity with yourself, you come into integrity with other people, you come into integrity with all life. And on an energetic level, living authentically, becoming more of who you really are, has an even far-reaching effect. All of life is vibration, right? Everything around us is vibrating at one frequency or another, and so are you. Millions and millions of subatomic particles constantly running about and popping with energy. The higher the frequency, the greater the energy. So as you come into integrity with the truth of your being, this clear, genuine, pure, transparent truth of your being, you begin to vibrate at a pure, clear level. Every cell of your being begins to vibrate at a pure, clear level. And we know that these vibrational energies go out from us. So then, there's no walls. There's no mask up. You've taken it off. So you become a transmitter of pure light. Because that light of your authenticity, and the scientists are finding out with photons, we are pure light. That light shines so that others can see their own true self and become who they really are. You become an agent of transformation, like I mentioned last week, because you've taken down the walls and you've created this environment, a secure, safe environment, this clear atmosphere, a genuine, true atmosphere for everyone to find their journey into authenticity. So I hope you realize this morning the greatest gift you have to offer is not your personality or your talents or your skills. It is the gift of your authentic self. So I want to encourage you to live with self-faith, with cosmic confidence, with a mental toughness and determination to express who you are and what you do in the beautiful and creative way that only you can. I love you all. Namaste.